Chapter 26:18. They have entered the attack range. All disciples of Dragon Palace, prepare to kill. At the highest command platform on the Dragon Peak, Wang Xian saw the abyss demons entering the range and immediately gave the order, Wang. In the next moment, the mysterious demons flew out from Dragon Peak and hid in the void. All members of Heaven's Eye Arrow Unit, prepare to fire. Mao Zedong stood at the highest point and shouted, Ready. Wang Wang Wang. The 30,000 members of Heaven's Eye Arrow Unit fixed their eyes on the abyss demons ahead. Dragon King, we can order the abyss demons to charge over. With Dragon Peak's defense, even rank 8 Undying God King can't break through. Tianjin said with a smile on his face. You control Dragon Peak. You will command the rest of the battle. Wang Xian nodded and said to Tianjin, Yes, Dragon King. Tianjin nodded and waved his arm. An illusory screen appeared in front of him. On the screen, there were countless red dots, each of which was different in size. This was a detection array set up by Tianjin. This array could detect all living beings within a 10 billion kilometer radius. The stronger the creature, the brighter the red dot. Among them, there were a few black dots. And the black dots were existences that Dragon Peak could not defend against. In other words, the abyss demons were rank 8 Undying God King and above. On the screen, there were 8 black dots, and they were all very far away from them. Once they were near, Dragon Peak could escape quickly. Boom boom boom. Tianjin controlled Dragon Peak's arm, and the huge Dragon Peak flew towards the center of the abyss demons. Friends from Beichuan sect, please make way. Tianjin looked at the experts from Beichuan sect who were fighting against the abyss demons and said, They are going to charge into the center of the abyss demons. Are they that confident? Can Dragon Peak withstand the attacks of the abyss demons? I heard that Dragon Palace has many rank 7 Undying God King experts. Let's ignore them and open up a path. The experts from Beichuan sect were more than happy to share the burden. Taking the initiative to open up a path, Long Feng directly flew inside. Ao ao ao. Ga ga ga. In front of them, millions of abyssal species were floating in the void. When they saw Long Feng flying toward them, they felt the pressure and let out roars. Roar. The next moment, tens of thousands of abyssal species of various grades charged toward Dragon Peak. There were also some abyssal species that raised their heads and spat out substantial law attacks. Fire. Without waiting for the heavenly array to give the order, Mao Zedong stared at all the abyss species that were attacking him and roared, Su su su. The next moment, more than 30,000 arrows with terrifying power directly attacked all the abyss species. The Heaven's Eye Arrow Department had 3 members who had reached the 7th Order Undying God King realm. The strongest abyss demons in this area were only at the 7th Order Undying God King realm, and there were only 2 of them. Facing the attacks of the Heaven's Eye Arrow Unit, every arrow became a lethal arrow. Ao ao. Pu pu pu. Screams rang out, and in an instant, more than 20,000 abyssal species were killed by the arrows. There was even a 7th Order Undying God King realm abyss species that was heavily injured. This is the moment. A black and white shadow appeared behind the heavily injured abyssal species and pierced through its body. Su su su. Inside Dragon Peak, a group of starwood dragon branches swept towards the corpses of the abyssal species. Kill the other 7th Order Undying God King realm abyss demon. Mao Zedong ordered his 2 subordinates beside him. Yes, leader. The 3 of them pulled back their bows and aimed at the 7th Order Undying God King realm abyss demon. That abyssal species instantly felt the threat of death, and its eyes were filled with panic. Heaven net. Earth net. Middle thrust. Mao Zedong and the other 2 arrow dragons roared and shot 3 arrows at the abyssal species. Heaven net. Cover the sky. Earth net. Cover the ground. This was a trap arrow. 2 trap arrows. There was no way to escape. Middle thrust was a killing move, aimed at the heart of the 7th Order Undying God King realm abyss demon. That 7th Order Undying God King realm abyss demon let out a furious roar, and black mist surged from its body. Within the black mist, many corporeal particles appeared, forming a defensive line around itself. Boom boom boom. 3 arrows landed on its body, causing its body to be sent flying backward. Pu. A black and white shadow flashed past, and the Seventh Order Undying God King Realm Abyss Demon was swiftly killed. Deal with the other abyssal species. Mao Zassen, who was standing on the arrow platform, saw the second Seventh Order Undying God King Realm Abyss Demon being killed and said, "Su, Su, Su." In the next instant, countless arrows flew towards the surrounding abyssal species. The terrifying arrows pierced through space, landing on the bodies of the abyssal species. Ao 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 ao. In an instant, cries of fear rang out, as the abyssal species revealed expressions of fear. Roar, roar, roar. Some of the Undying God King Realm abyssal species immediately fled towards the depths of the abyss. However, their speed was not as fast as the arrows. One by one, the abyssal species were being killed. So strong. This Dragon Palace is really strong. Are those the archers of Dragon Palace? So powerful. Two Seventh Order Undying God King Realm abyssal species were actually killed so quickly. Too powerful. These archers have terrifying archery skills. In the surroundings, Bei Chuanzong was shocked as he saw the abyssal species being killed so quickly. Dragon Palace didn't just send out 3 Seventh Order Undying God King Realm experts, there should be another one hidden in the dark, and their strength is not weak. The Bei Chuan sect elder looked over and his pupils constricted slightly as he said softly, "Those 3 Seventh Order Undying God King Realm archers are considered the peak of the Seventh Order Undying God King Realm. If they lock onto me, unless I get close to them, I can only run." Another elder looked at the group of archers on the arrow platform, his eyes flashing. This Dragon Palace seems to have 10 to 20 Seventh Order Undying God King Realm experts. If they make a move, the pressure on us will be greatly reduced. Bei Chuanzong's elder said as he looked at the humongous dragon peak. "Keep the corpses of the abyssal species, continue forward, and push forward." Tianjin looked at the red dots on the array, and immediately controlled the dragon peak to push forward. It was not towards the depths of the abyss, but towards the sides, pushing forward. On the human side, there were thousands of planets on the northern front, and the abyssal species were also using this front to invade. Around every planet, there were 4 to 5 million abyssal species. Among them, there were even 8th Order Undying God King Realm and 9th Order Undying God King Realm abyssal species, and even peak God King Realm abyssal species had not been detected yet. Chapter 26:19. Let's begin. Tianjin stared ahead. At a glance, it was a boundless abyss species. As long as we kill more abyss species, Dragon Palace's strength will increase rapidly. Void God Emperor Realm, soon. Ever since Sky Formation joined Dragon Palace, he had been loyal. However, what he wanted more was revenge. Sky Formation was full of confidence for revenge. All members of Heaven's Eye Arrow Division, get ready, Tianjin exclaimed softly. His eyes swept across the divine weapons of war on Dragon Peak and the corners of his mouth curled up. Boom boom boom. All members of Heaven's Eye Arrow Division stood on the arrow platform as Dragon Peak charged forward at a terrifying speed. The densely packed abyss species quickly arrived within the attack range. Dragon Peak was so huge that it quickly attracted the attention of many abyss species. A leader of the abyss species stared at the huge peak with bloodthirsty eyes and let out a furious roar. Around them, tens of thousands of abyss species stared at Dragon Peak and charged towards it. Su su su. Arrows after arrows flew towards the abyss species. In an instant, a large number of abyss species were killed. However, these abyss species were not afraid of death and continued to charge towards Dragon Peak. Members of Heaven's Eye Arrow Division shot their arrows and turned into phantoms as they killed without stopping. Behind, many powerful abyss species roared as more and more abyss species charged towards Dragon Peak. Hey! Are those people from Dragon Palace? They actually controlled the war equipment to enter the abyss. This war equipment is so huge. Yes, this war equipment is too huge. It's not smaller than a star. I heard that Dragon Palace helped them clear most of the abyss species. We know that there are 4 rank 7 god kings in Dragon Palace. They brought such a huge war equipment in and will become the target of the abyss species. It's not wise. In front, some people from North Stream sect noticed the situation on Dragon Peak and said softly, "Ignore them. Don't let them affect our situation here." An elder said. All members of Starwood Division, get ready. Ao Xingmu saw a large number of abyss species charging towards Dragon Peak. The members of Heaven's Eye Arrow Division could not kill them all. He immediately ordered all his subordinates. It's the leader. One by one, the Starwood dragons came to the Dragon Peak's battle platform and stared at the abyss species in front of them. Hundreds of thousands of abyss demons charged over, and a large portion of them passed through the Heaven's Eye Arrow Division's arrows and attacked Dragon Peak. Su. At this time, the Starwood dragon's overwhelming thorns attacked the abyss type. The Starwood dragon species also had 3 7th-order Immortal King Realm Expert. The attacks prevented the abyssal demons from getting within 1,000 kilometers of the Dragon Peak. All the abyssal species were killed thousands of kilometers away. One by one, the corpses were collected by the mysterious demons. Keep going. The heavenly formation controlled Dragon Peak to reduce its speed and push forward slowly. The Dragon Palace is so powerful. After all, the entire Dragon Palace has 10 to 27th order Undying God King Realm experts. It wouldn't be surprising if they could deal with the abyss demons on our side. If the power of our North River sect is gathered together, we will be even more powerful. Some of the North Creek clan's elders looked at the scene in front of them with a hint of surprise in their eyes as they whispered. The arrival of Dragon Peak had greatly reduced the pressure on them. For every tens of millions of kilometers, Dragon Peak would kill tens of thousands of abyssal demons. They had already collected over 3 million corpses, among which, there were over 700 to 800 Undying God King Realm ones. Time passed slowly, and Dragon Palace continued to push forward. 3 hours later, Dragon Palace had reached the position of 12 planet. The number of 7th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demons killed had reached 15. When Dragon Peak reached the front line of 13 planets, the abyssal demons roared the moment Dragon Peak stepped in. There are so many abyssal demons here. Wang Xian looked over and raised an eyebrow. Dragon King, there's an 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon here. Tianjin looked at the red dot detected by the formation and said with a smile, "Is that so? Are you confident in killing it?" Wang Xian raised an eyebrow, his eyes gleaming as he asked. "Dragon King, I've set up many arrays on this Dragon Peak. Not to mention one, even 2 or 3 of them are enough to kill it." Heavenly Formation said confidently. Although activating the arrays required a lot of energy, as long as they could kill an 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon, this amount of energy would not even be 1/100th of this abyssal demon. Alright, then let's kill it. As long as we kill one, Dragon Palace will have one more 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon. Wang Xian's eyes gleamed. With one more 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon, Dragon Palace's strength would increase tremendously. Alright. Heavenly Formation nodded. Boom boom boom. In the next instant, Dragon Peak charged forward, the entire mountain peak radiating with green light. What are they doing? We have more abyssal demons here, and there's even an 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon. Dragon Peak's arrival immediately attracted the attention of an old ancestor from North Chuan Sec. Seeing Dragon Peak speeding towards the abyssal demons, his expression changed. The abyssal demons here were one of the 2 areas with the most abyssal demons. The other was near the center of the northern front line, and the second was here. An 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon, a dozen 7th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demons, and over 1,000 Undying God King Realm abyssal demon. Over on their side, he could only hold back the 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon. At this moment, the abyssal demon did not attack. Instead, it watched the battle coldly. In front, when the 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon saw Dragon Peak charging towards them, its eyes flashed with rage. It let out a shrill roar, and sent out a series of orders. At this moment, at least 5 to 6 million abyssal demons responded, their gazes locked onto Dragon Peak. Roar. In the next instant, the 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon charged towards Dragon Peak. Oh no, is Dragon Palace courting death? North Chuan Sect's old ancestor's expression changed. If an 8th-order Undying God King Realm abyssal demon charged over, a star could be destroyed with a single claw. Even if Dragon Peak was huge, it could be destroyed with a single attack. They had investigated the strength of Dragon Palace. The strongest was a 7th Order Undying God King Realm Abyssal Demon. Against an 8th Order Undying God King Realm Abyssal Demon, unless there were 30 to 40 of them working together. Otherwise, Dragon Peak and everyone from Dragon Palace would be killed. Chapter 2620. Roar, roar, roar. Within the abyss, 5 to 6 million abyssal species roared. The rank 8 Undying God King was emitting a ferocious aura, boundless murderous aura, long black claws. It looked extremely terrifying. Behind it, close to 1,000 Undying God King abyss species followed behind, their auras overflowing. Beichuan sect and the rest could not help but look over when they saw a large portion of the abyssal species charging towards the Dragon Peak on the right. They had already known that Goddess Frost's master had brought people to hunt the abyssal species. Now that they saw the Dragon Peak charging towards the abyssal species, they were shocked. Were they sending themselves to their deaths? That was an existence with rank 8 Undying God King abyssal species. Even their old ancestor had to be careful. Damn it, if the people of Dragon Palace are being massacred, the most I can do is save the Dragon King. The old ancestor of Beichuan sect looked over and roared. Saving the Dragon King was because he was Beishuang's master. If he died here, Beishuang would feel resentful. They're here, Dragon King. Let me show you the powerful divine weapon forged by the Fire Hammer race and the array I've set up. On the command platform of the Dragon Peak, Tianzhan revealed a sinister smile when he saw the 5 to 6 million abyssal species charging towards them. Celestial Eye Arrow Unit, attack at will. Starwood Dragon Species, attack at will. Fire Hammer Race, get ready. Tianzhan immediately gave the order. Within the Dragon Peak, Mao Zesen and the rest of the Celestial Eye Arrow Unit fired their arrows forward. Wang Xian stood on the command platform, watching this scene with a smile. Entering the attack range, Fire Hammer Race, attack. When the abyssal species entered the range of hundreds of millions of kilometers, the order to attack was given. Ha ha ha, witness the blazing golden swords forged by our Fire Hammer Race. The eyes of Du and Jinming and the others flickered with excitement. At the entrance of the Dragon Peak, there was something that looked like an altar placed at the bottom. On the altar, a giant fiery golden sword was formed. The giant sword ranged from 1,000 meters to 5,000 meters, and it contained terrifying might. There were 1,000 of such powerful swords. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. All the giant swords vibrated, and in the next instant, they charged forward. A fiery red with a hint of gold tore through the void of the abyss. Buzz. At the moment when the giant sword attacked, the dragon eye above the command platform of Dragon Peak. At this time, the pair of dragon eyes shone brightly, as 2 green spears shot out from the dragon eyes, aiming for the 8th Order Undying God King abyss species. Long Feng was still flying forward at a terrifying speed. Sensing the attack from the Dragon Peak, the abyssal species were slightly shocked and let out angry roars. The leader of the Undyings stared at the 2 green pikes that were about to reach him, and spat out magma-like flame laws. Bam bam bam! A terrifying collision resounded in the void. The green spear and magma law ripples caused a few Undying God King level abyssal species to be heavily injured. Clang clang clang! At this time, the golden swords covered in flames also rushed into the abyss group. Pu pu pu! The terrifying flame swords pierced through the abyssal species one by one. Ao ao ao! Bam! A flaming golden sword landed on the Undying God King's 3rd Order abyss seed, releasing a terrifying clashing sound. Following a loud explosion, the flaming golden sword turned into even more terrifying sword. The tiny swords instantly pierced through the abyss seed. At other places, the terrifying swords also pierced through the surrounding abyss seed. Su su su. At this time, the Empyrean Eye Arrow Unit's arrows rained down, covering all the abyss seed. Ao ao ao! Cries of agony rang out continuously. Who? The Undying God King Abyss Seed saw this and revealed an enraged expression, instantly appearing in front of Dragon Peak. It leapt up high, its 10,000m body, 10,000m long claws, attacking the peak of Dragon Peak. Boom boom boom! However, in the next moment, rays of light crossed over from the horns of the dragon head on the Dragon Peak and shot towards it. Peng peng peng! The continuous cross of radiance landed on the undying God King Abyss Seed's body. Hoo hoo hoo. The Abyss Seed let out a fearful roar, large chunks of flesh were torn off, fresh blood splattered everywhere. Su su su. At this time, Dragon Peak's attack had not ended. Many thorny vines shot out from Dragon Peak, twisting in the air, forming a huge claw. Pang! The thorny claw directly grabbed onto the undying God King Abyss Seed. The thorny vines were like the fangs of a poisonous snake, drilling into the Abyss Seed's body. Ayo! An incomparably painful roar came from its mouth. The Abyss Seed struggled madly, but its life was quickly disappearing. The thorny vines grabbed its body and retreated back into Dragon Peak. Attack! At this time, on the various altars of Dragon Peak, more blazing golden swords were formed. The second round of attacks began. Thousands of sharp swords, every one of them able to threaten undying God King level experts, along with the 30,000 Empyrean Eye Arrow units attacks. Out of the 5 to 6 million Abyss Seeds, only half remain. Su su su. The huge swords flew, blossoming golden flowers on the Abyss Seed. One by one, the Abyss Seeds fell. Hoo hoo. Screams of terror came from the mouths of some of the Abyss Seeds. Many of their comrades were killed, causing them to panic. Some of the Abyss Seeds wanted to escape. Follow me, leave behind all the Abyss Seed. Ao Xingmu's figure flashed, charging towards the group of Abyss Seed. There were many Abyss Seeds in front of him that were heavily injured. He could not let them escape. Yes, leader. One by one, the Starwood dragon species flew into the void, chasing after the Abyss Seed. This air at Bei Chuan Sek's position, seeing the 5 to 6 million Abyss Seeds fleeing at a terrifying speed, everyone's faces were filled with shock. That undying God King Abyss Seed was killed by Dragon Palace. That Dragon Peak is so terrifying. What level of war machine is that? It can actually kill an 8th order God King Abyss Seed. It's too strong. So strong. That Dragon Palace is so strong. Exclamations of shock came from their mouths. Killing an 8th order God King Abyss Seed. Ever since the abyss erupted, only their sect leader and goddess of frost could do it. Yet, that powerful Dragon Peak actually managed to kill an 8th order God King Abyss Seed in such a short period of time. What a powerful war machine, to be able to kill an 8th order God King Abyss Seed so easily. This war machine can at least deal with 2 to 3, maybe even 3 to 4 Abyss Seed. The elders of Bei Chuan sect mumbled in shock. Chapter 26-21. With the rank 8 undying God King Abyss species as the leader, they led 5 to 6 million Abyss species towards Dragon Peak of Dragon Palace. Everyone from Bei Chuan sect thought that Dragon Palace would pay a heavy price or even be annihilated. But the result gave them a huge shock. Everyone was shocked to see the experts of the Dragon Palace quickly killing the Abyss species. Looking at the humongous peak. At this moment, they realized that Dragon Palace was not as simple as they thought. All disciples, fall back. At this moment, a loud voice came from the center. Everyone from Bei Chuan sect regained their senses. Retreat to the planet immediately. Old ancestor of Bei Chuan sect took a deep look at Dragon Peak and ordered the disciples. Is this battle over? At this moment, Wang Xian, who was standing on the command platform of Dragon Peak, frowned. He still wanted to continue killing. In just a few hours, Dragon Palace had reaped a huge harvest. Just the corpses of the undying God King Abyss species alone had reached over 6,000. Over 6,000 undying God King Abyss species corpses. What kind of concept was that? It could increase the number of undying God King disciples in Dragon Palace and also increase the number of God King expert. 18 rank 7 undying God King Abyss species corpses and 1 rank 8 Abyss species corpse. This harvest was too huge. Dragon King, we can still continue killing here. Seeing the experts from Bei Chuan sect retreating and the experts from the other forces leaving, Sky Formation looked at the red on the array and said to Wang Xian, "All right, continue killing." Wang Xian nodded. The harvest was too huge. It was all right to take some risk. Moreover, Sky Formation had a detection array. Once a powerful Abyss species came, Dragon Peak could leave immediately. Swish swish swish. Dragon Peak continued charging towards the Abyss species, reaping the lives of the Abyss species with arrows. All the corpses were collected by the mysterious demon. They haven't left yet. The elites of the Kitagawa clan returned to the planet and saw that Long Feng was still rushing towards the abyss species. They frowned slightly. Inform sect leader and vice sect leader Bei Shuang about this. Old ancestor of Bei Chuan sect hesitated before ordering a disciple. The strength of Dragon Palace had exceeded their expectations. That powerful Long Feng was able to kill an undying God King Stage 8 Abyss Seed. Such combat strength was enough to make the Bei Chuan sect take him seriously. Everyone in the Dragon Palace, be careful. There are no experts in other places to contain the abyssal species. There may be powerful abyssal species rushing over. He hesitated for a moment before reminding Long Feng. Thank you for your reminder. Our Dragon Palace knows our limits. Upon hearing the reminder from Bei Chuan sect, Wang Xian smiled faintly. He looked ahead. Wherever Long Feng went, the abyss demons were quickly harvested. In order to speed up, the heavenly formation activated the array formations on the Dragon Peak and attacked the abyss species. Roar. Less than 10 minutes later, a roar came from the center. When Tianzhen heard this voice, he looked at the array formation in front of him. Dragon King, it's time to retreat. There's a black dot rushing towards us. There are 7 to 8 undying God King 8th Order Abyss Beasts following behind. At this moment, Tianzhen spoke to Wang Xian immediately. At the same time, he controlled Dragon Peak to fly out. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly as he looked ahead. An aura that caused one's heart to palpitate slowly came over here. Wang Xian smiled faintly. The resources obtained this time are enough for the members of Dragon Palace to improve greatly. This is just the beginning, he murmured to himself. With these resources, Wang Xian was prepared to raise the battle strength of 2 8th Order Undying God Kings. Swish swish swish. Just as Dragon Peak was flying out of the abyss, Bei Shuang and 2 old ancestors of Bei Chuan sect flew over. When they saw the huge mountain flying over, their eyes were filled with shock. Old Liang, did the Dragon Palace really destroy a 8th Order Abyss species? An old man could not help but ask the old ancestor of Bei Chuan sect. Why would I lie to you? That Dragon Peak of the Dragon Palace is extremely terrifying. There are many powerful weapons and arrays on it. The old ancestor of Bei Chuan sect looked at him, then at Dragon Peak again. His face was also filled with shock. These war machines are too powerful. There aren't many war machines that can destroy a 8th Order God King in the entire resplendent Great Thousand World. The sect leader of Bei Chuan sect murmured. Shuang, is there an 8th Order Undying God King in your master's Dragon Palace? Or an array master? One of the old ancestors could not help but ask. I don't know, but there is a powerful array master in the Dragon Palace. Bei Shuang shook her head. She did not know much about the Dragon Palace. Wang. At this time, Dragon Peak came out from the abyss and flew towards the void. Let's go and thank the Dragon King and the rest. The sect leader of Bei Chuan sect hesitated for a moment, then flew towards Dragon Peak. Indeed, we should thank them. The few old ancestors of Bei Chuan sect nodded their heads. The Dragon Palace had taken action and killed many abyss species. This also saved a lot of Bei Chuan sect's casualties. One had to know that every time they fought, at least 50 undying God Kings would die. As for the other disciples, every battle would not be less than 2 million. The entire war was much more tragic than expected. And with the Dragon Palace taking action, the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Bei Chuan sect disciples would be reduced, and at the same time, over 20 God Kings would fall. Previously, they thought that the Dragon Palace would only send a few experts to take advantage of the situation to obtain some abyss species crystals. It would be good enough if they did not cause any trouble. Now, it seemed like they had done them a huge favor. They had to go and thank them. Another point was that the Dragon Palace had the ability to kill rank 8 immortal God King abyss species. This was enough for Bei Chuan sect to treat them as equals. Dragon King, thank you for your help today. When Dragon Peak stopped in the void, Bei Chuan sect leader and the rest flew over and cupped their fists towards Wang Xian on the command platform. Haha, we took action to get more abyss species crystals. Wang Xian saw them flying over and laughed heartily. He was in a good mood. Dragon King, your war machines are really strong. Even rank 8 immortal God King Abyss species can be killed. One of the old ancestors sized up Dragon Peak in awe. Hihi, if not for your experts holding back the powerful Abyss species, we would not dare to kill so brazenly within the Abyss species. Wang Xian laughed. This is also the strength of your Dragon Palace. The Beichuan sect people exchanged pleasantries with Wang Xian. He could also feel that the attitude of the Beichuan sect people had changed significantly. If in the past, they were polite to him because of Beishuang, now it was because of the strength of the Dragon Palace. Chapter 26-22. This Dragon Palace is really strong. In this battle, they've killed at least 7,000 to 8,000 Undying God King level Abyss demons. Their dragon peaks have terrifying attacks. Those blazing golden swords, every one of them has an attack at the Undying God King level, right? That Dragon Palace isn't as weak as we thought. No wonder they're able to give us Bei Shuang's cultivation technique. With the experts from Dragon Palace, our losses have been greatly reduced. Just as Wang Xian was exchanging pleasantries with the experts from Beichuan sect, some of the disciples from Beichuan sect were discussing amongst themselves. To be able to kill rank 8 Undying God King level Abyss demons, their strength was almost on par with Beichuan sect. Even if they were relying on the strength of the Dragon Peaks. Because of their relationship with Beishuang, Beichuan sect had a good impression of Dragon Palace. Master, I'm going to continue my cultivation. After chatting with Beichuan sect leader for a while, the group left. Beishuang also left after bidding farewell to Wang Xian. As Wang Xian watched them leave, he revealed a faint smile. With a flash, he flew towards the planet where Dragon Palace was built. After arriving, Roving Demon, Mao Zesen, and the rest of the Phantom Demon Arrow Dragons followed him into the main Dragon Palace. Roving Demon, Mao Zesen, both of you will advance to rank 8 Undying God King level. Use the rest to upgrade the Arrow Dragons and Spike Dragons. Wang Xian took out all the resources he had to upgrade the Phantom Demon and Heaven's Eye Arrow unit. Most importantly, with the help of the Dragon Peaks, the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit's combat strength far surpassed the other dragon species. As for Roving Demon and the rest, they could assassinate and move in the void. With their upgrades, the strength of the Spike Dragon and Arrow Dragon species will double. Wang Xian murmured. Double the strength was a little exaggerated. The Abyss demons used battle to nurture battle, but the Dragon Palaces was even more terrifying. The group of Dragon Palace members entered the Dragon Transformation Pool, and Wang Xian stayed in Dragon Palace for the next few days. 10 days later, Roving Demon, Mao Zesen, and the rest had a breakthrough. This time, other than them, the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit and the Mysterious Demon unit also gained 5 7th Order God King Realm Expert. As for the others, there were even more. Originally, there were 1,000 Undying God Kings in Dragon Peak, but now there were 5,000. After all, there were too many Abyss seeds harvested this time. The current strength of the Dragon Palace should be slightly stronger than Beichuan sect. Wang Xian mumbled to himself with a smile on his face. Let's go. Wang Xian led the members of the Dragon Palace and immediately teleported to the Devil Island. Dragon King, Miss Bei Shuang came a day ago. She wanted to go with you to a planet of the Moon sect to participate in an exchange meeting. Since you were not around, Miss Bei Shuang left an invitation here. Just as Wang Xian arrived at the Dragon Peak, Tianzhen handed him an invitation and spoke to him. Oh, exchange gathering? What exchange meeting? Wang Xian took the invitation letter and raised his eyebrows slightly. I heard from Miss Bei Shuang that it's a trade meeting. Now that we are facing the threat of the Abyss, the Moon sect held a trade meeting during the gap between the wars. Every force and expert has many treasures. You can barter or trade Abyss crystals. Tianzhen said to Wang Xian. I can go and take a look. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. Many experts attended the trade meeting organized by the Moon sect. Now that they were facing a threat, some of them might take out their treasures to exchange for a boost in strength. Wang Xian had many treasures in his hands. Even if he exchanged them for Abyss crystals, it would still be a good thing. Beckoning Moon Planet. Wang Xian looked at the address on the invitation letter and searched for it using the AI. Tianzhen, do you want to go there? He looked at Tianzhen and asked. Sure. Tianjin nodded and the two of them flew towards the planet. Beckoning Moon Planet was located in the center of thousands of planets in the north. It was also the most prosperous planet in the north. When Wang Xian and the rest flew over, they could see many people on the planet. Among the planets in the north, many of them had very few people. But this planet was filled with people. According to the address, Wang Xian came to a huge square. Looking around, there were at least 1 million people around. Some of them had placed some treasures on the ground. Some of them wanted to exchange for abyss crystals, while others wanted to barter with other items. Among the millions of people around, most of them were level 5 Eternal Godlord and above. All kinds of treasures lit up the surroundings. At a glance, it was a shocking sight. The entire square was like a large treasure field. Wang Xian looked around and his eyes were shining. This was the first time he had seen such a grand scene. No one knew how long this war would last. Everyone wanted to improve their strength as quickly as possible. Only by surviving could they become stronger. Many people were not stingy and took out their treasures to trade. However, the periphery was a place for ordinary disciples to trade. The core of the trade meeting, which was a palace in the middle of the square, was the place for god kings to trade. Wang Xian walked towards the center. When they came to the entrance, there were AI robots inspecting them. These robots had no combat strength. However, those who were not qualified to enter would be courting death if they dared to barge in, because the number of immortal god king experts inside would be terrifying. Ding! After passing the test of the invitation, Wang Xian walked in. After walking for 10 minutes, he saw many small pavilions. Each pavilion was filled with many people. At a glance, there were at least 30 to 40,000 people. These were all undying God King level experts. The 4 major forces, the experts from the other planets in the north, and existences like the Moon Sect, the number of God Kings was terrifying. These 30 to 40,000 people were not all of them. Just the North Stream sect alone had close to 10,000 immortal God King experts. One could imagine how many experts would be gathered here. This divine equipment is so strong. Hiss, an immortal God King level 7 abyss crystal is worth this price. Exchanging for a powerful divine sword, this isn't easy. War Pet, level 5 immortal God King War Pet Sai, it's a pity I don't have enough abyss crystal. The moment he entered, voices could be heard. There was also the strong aura of divine equipment and treasures. Wang Xian looked around and his eyes lit up. There were indeed a lot of treasures around. What treasure is this? It can actually increase the quality of a god nation. So strong. What is this? I've never heard of it before. It can heal injuries quickly. This is too strong. It will be of great use to an immortal god nation. Wang Xian walked in as he looked around. Suddenly, an exclamation could be heard. Chapter 26-23, Huh? What's that? The exclamations piqued Wang Xian's curiosity. He raised an eyebrow and walked forward. What treasure is it this time? There were already a few treasures yesterday, and now there's another one? In the surrounding area, there were also people who heard the exclamations in front of them. They walked forward in bewilderment. The exchange had started yesterday, and the treasures that had shocked everyone had already appeared yesterday. Judging from the situation, another treasure had appeared. With so many god kings, many of them are old monsters that have lived for millions of years. It's normal to have some treasures. Wang Xian mumbled to himself as he walked towards a pavilion. Wang. When he walked over, he saw an old man floating 5 meters in the air in front of him. His gaze swept across everyone in the surroundings. The old man was a 4th order undying god king, and not very strong. Beside him, there was a strange thing. It was an irregular stone plate, emitting a faint green glow, and a strong vitality lingering on it. The stone plate was 5 meters in size, and there were some cracks on it. Clearly, it was destroyed. The entire stone plate gave off an ancient feeling, as though it was a stone that had settled in the void for a very long time. Everyone, I'm a disciple of the Dragon Python group. More than 1 million years ago, I obtained a treasure, and it was this treasure that brought me back from the dead many times. Based on the information, this treasure is called the Ancient Pond Moonlight Gulf, a treasure of the legendary peak race, the the fairy race. Now that the moon essence in the ancient pond Moonlight Gulf has been depleted, we can use large amounts of plant-type god seeds to condense the moon essence. This essence can instantly heal injuries. Even if there's no essence left in it, placing it in a god kingdom will double the recovery rate. The old man from the Dragon Python group introduced to everyone the fairy race's Moonlight Gulf. A treasure of the pinnacle race in the universe. Is that true? I can really sense a huge life force from the Moonlight Bay of the ancient pond. This life force is too strong. But this ancient pond Moonlight Gulf seems to have been destroyed. The fairy race, a legendary race. Is this ancient pond Moonlight Gulf real or fake? Gasps of astonishment could be heard, and many looked at the ancient pond fervently. Name a price. A wood element undying god king stared at Moonlight Bay with a fiery gaze and said, "That's right. Name a price. How many abyssal crystals do you want to auction? Or, what are you prepared to trade?" A few wood attribute cultivators at the side said fervently. From the ancient pond's moon bay, they could sense an incomparably powerful life force, which was extremely beneficial to their cultivation. Let's barter. I need a divine sword. I'll trade with whoever has the strongest divine sword that suits me, the old man said directly. Divine sword. When the crowd heard his words, they raised their eyebrows slightly. I have a sword here. There's one here, it's suitable for 4th Order Immortal King Realm Expert. I have one here. This sword was forged with the core of a star. It's priceless. Many people's hearts burned with passion toward the ancient pool's Moonlight Bay. They immediately took out their divine swords. The old man floated in the air and looked at the swords. He frowned slightly but didn't say anything. In his opinion, these divine swords weren't worth trading. Ancient Pond Moon Bay? The pinnacle race in the universe, the fairy race? Wang Xian walked over and looked at the treasures beside the old man. His eyes flashed with shock. The fairy race was one of the pinnacle races in the universe. They had two most powerful treasures. One was the Tree of Life, and the other was Moonlight Bay. The Tree of Life was even more precious than the divine parasol tree. According to the divine dragon's inheritance, there was only one Tree of Life, and it belonged to the fairy race. Moonlight Bay was a supreme treasure attached to the Tree of Life. Moonlight Bay could rapidly recover the vitality of the fairy race. Even if they were left with only a drop of blood, soaking in Moonlight Bay would allow them to recover to their peak. It was a quick recovery, and didn't require a long period of cultivation to recover. The Tree of Life and Moonlight Bay were what the fairy race relied on. How could there be a treasure like Moonlight Bay here? Wang Xian stared at the ancient pond Moon Bay, and the system notification rang. It's really the ancient pond Moon Bay of the fairy race, even if it's a little damaged. Wang Xian was slightly taken aback. He stared at the ancient pond Moon Bay intently. This aura feels close to the progenitor tree. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. Moonlight Bay was a half-life item belonging to the Tree of Life, and one of the two supreme treasures of the fairy race. I wonder if there will be any changes if Moonlight Bay is placed beside the progenitor tree? Wang Xian thought to himself. Hey! Another supreme treasure? Young commander, I heard that it's the supreme treasure of the fairy race. Although it's a little damaged, it's still valuable. At this time, a middle-aged man and an elder walked over from behind. The middle-aged man looked ahead with curiosity. The supreme treasure of the fairy race? The middle-aged man paused for a moment, and immediately walked forward. This majestic vitality is definitely a rare supreme treasure for a wood attribute deity king. When the middle-aged man arrived, his expression changed when he sensed the aura above Moonlight Bay. He was a wood attribute cultivator, and this Moonlight Bay had a fatal attraction to him. It's indeed a supreme treasure, especially for a wood attribute cultivator. The elder beside him was taken aback as he stared fixedly at Moonlight Bay. Only the legendary sword? I'm determined to get my hands on this treasure. The middle-aged man revealed a determined look. Without any hesitation, he took out a legendary sword from his hand. I'll exchange this legendary sword for it. He raised the legendary sword in his hand and declared loudly. Moon's Moonlight Star, it's him. He wants this Moonlight Bay too? Many people from the Moon sect are wood attribute cultivators. This Moonlight Bay is indeed a supreme treasure for the experts from the Moon sect. Moon's Moonlight Star has made his move. It's going to be difficult to fight for it. This isn't an auction, but a barter. That person from the Dragon Python group might not be interested in the legendary sword in his hand. When the surrounding people saw the middle-aged man, they were taken aback and started discussing softly. Clearly, this Moonlight Star was an influential figure on the Demon Island. The elder from the Dragon Python group looked over and fixed his gaze on the legendary sword. His eyes lit up, but he did not agree immediately. The value of Moonlight Bay wasn't worth that sword. I have a sword here called the Dragon Blood Sword. The Dragon Blood Sword is forged using the bones of a divine dragon as its body and the blood of a divine dragon as its soul. Similarly, it can be considered a supreme treasure. Wang Xian looked at the legendary sword that the middle-aged man took out and the treasures in his mother's nest before taking out the Dragon Blood Sword. Chapter 26-24. Huh? What? Dragon Blood Sword, supreme treasure? As Wang Xian finished his words, the surrounding crowd was taken aback. The old man from the Dragon Python group, who was hovering in the air, was also taken aback as he stared at Wang Xian. Supreme treasure? Are you serious? Dragon Blood Sword, forged with the bone and blood of a divine dragon. Is this possible? Some of them were shocked as they stared at the sharp sword in Wang Xian's hand. The sword hilt had a dragon head, and it was blood-red in color. The entire sword exuded a faint pressure. This sword isn't ordinary. This sword isn't simple. Even if it isn't as powerful as he claimed, it isn't something other divine swords can compare to. When the surrounding experts looked over, they were shocked. They were all immortal king-level experts, and each of them had extraordinary eyesight. One look at the Dragon Blood Sword and they could tell that other divine swords couldn't compare to it. That faint pressure caused everyone's hearts to palpitate. Moonlight Great Sect's Yu Xingxing looked over. When his gaze landed on the Dragon Blood Sword, his expression changed slightly. This sword was much better than his. The old man from the Dragon Python group stared at the sword with passion in his eyes. Such a divine sword could increase his strength significantly. The moon essence in the Moon Bay had already been absorbed by him. Even without the moon essence, it was still a rare treasure, but it wasn't as powerful as before. Using it to exchange for a powerful divine sword could increase his combat strength tremendously. Friend from the Dragon Python group, I'm willing to use this divine sword and 10 immortal king level 5 abyssal crystals. Yu Xingxing saw the old man's expression and immediately spoke up. Huh? The old man from the Dragon Python group turned around upon hearing Yu Xingxing's words. However, there wasn't much fluctuation in his eyes. Obviously, the Dragon Blood Divine Sword is more valuable. I wonder if the Dragon Blood Sword is really forged with the bone and blood of a divine dragon. Even so, the value of the Dragon Blood Sword should still be higher. The surrounding people discussed softly when they saw this scene. Hey, Xiao Guang, is there a treasure that you're interested in? At this time, a group of middle-aged and old men saw Yu Xingxing and walked over. Behind them, there were also many people surrounding them. The commotion here had attracted the attention of all the surrounding experts, and all of them walked over curiously. Elder, that treasure is very useful for wood elemental cultivators. Yu Xingxing looked at the experts from the great sects and said, The people of the Moon sect looked over and were slightly shocked. What abundant life force, even our sect's peak undying God King God Tree can't compare to it. The pupils of the elder beside him constricted slightly as shock filled his eyes. What kind of deal? The elder of the Moon Great sect immediately asked. Elder, the other party needs a divine sword, but that young man took out a very strong divine sword. Yu Xingxing looked at the Dragon Blood Sword in Wang Xian's hand and said. The elder of the Moon sect looked at the Dragon Blood Sword with a hint of surprise on his face. Little friend, I'm willing to make a deal with your godly sword. At this time, the old man from Dragon Python group suddenly spoke to Wang Xian. All right. When Wang Xian heard that, he smiled. The Dragon Blood Sword was naturally not something that other divine swords could compare to. However, this Dragon Blood Sword wasn't as precious as one would imagine. After all, if a fallen divine dragon could be forged into such a sharp sword, there could be tens of thousands of them. Its preciousness could not be compared to the Moonlight Bay. Of course, the value of the Moonlight Bay depended on who was holding it. In the hands of the old man from the Dragon Python group, its value was not even comparable to the Dragon Blood Sword. Hold on, friend from the Dragon Python group. We want the supreme treasure in your hands. You can choose any 2 treasures from the treasure vault of the Moonsec. Seeing that the Moonlight Bay was about to be traded, the elder hesitated for a moment before speaking. Huh! The elder from the Dragon Python group was stunned, and hesitation appeared on his face. Choosing any 2 treasures from the treasure vault of the Moonsect was too tempting. What? Choosing any 2 treasures from the treasure vault of the Moonsect? It seems like the Moonsect is determined to get it. SSS, there are definitely powerful treasures in the treasure vault of the Moonsec. When the surrounding people heard what the elder from the Moonsect said, they were slightly shocked and started discussing. Take a look at this legendary sword first. Wang Xian swept a glance at the elder from the Moonsect. With a wave of his arm, he threw the Dragon Blood Sword to the old man from the Dragon Python group. The old man caught it and held it in his hand. Wang. Streams of law energy gathered as he widened his eyes. Roar. Roar. The next moment, the shadow of a divine dragon appeared around the Dragon Blood Sword. A dragon roar came from the Dragon Blood Sword. The old man from the Dragon Python group widened his eyes and was extremely excited. What's this? The artifact spirit of a legendary weapon? Is that a divine dragon? Is it really forged from the bones of a divine dragon? Forged with the blood of a divine dragon? Otherwise, how could there be such a legendary artifact spirit? Even if it's not the legendary pure-blooded divine dragon, it must be forged from the bones of a powerful dragon species. SSS, this is a supreme treasure. When the surrounding people sensed the changes on the Dragon Blood Sword, they were shocked. The elder from the Moon sect and Yu Xingxing were shocked. It's highly possible that this is a legendary sword forged from the body of a divine dragon. At this time, some experts gathered around and stared at the legendary sword in astonishment. Some of the experts who used sharp swords were burning with passion. This was definitely a supreme treasure. In fact, to many people, the value of the Dragon Blood Sword was much higher than that of the Moonlight Bay. Ha ha ha, what a great sword. It's indeed a divine dragon sword. Young friend, I'll exchange the treasure. The old man from the Dragon Python group caressed the Dragon Blood Sword in his hand excitedly as the Moonlight Bay flew towards Wang Xian. Great. Wang Xian looked at the Moonlight Bay before him with passion in his eyes. It was worth it to be able to obtain such a treasure. Young friend, are you willing to part with the Moonlight Bay of the ancient pool? I'm willing to exchange a large number of treasures with you. Yu Xingxing looked at Wang Xian with reluctance and spoke to him. Not exchanging. Wang Xian looked at him and rejected him directly. Don't be in a hurry to reject me. You can enter our moon sect and choose 2 treasures. I'll also give you sufficient treasures. Yu Xingxing was stunned as she gritted her teeth and continued. I'm not exchanging anything. Wang Xian replied plainly. His expression changed and he was extremely embarrassed. Wang Xian ignored him and kept the Moonlight Bay of the ancient pool. Young friend, we can negotiate the price again. We can let you choose 4 treasures from the treasury of our moon sect. The elder from the moon sect hesitated for a moment and looked at Wang Xian. I've already said that I'm not exchanging. Are you trying to force me to buy and sell? Wang Xian frowned when he saw them wanting to buy continuously. Chapter 26-25. Huh? Everyone was taken aback when they heard Wang Xian. The elders of the moon sect and Yu Xingxing were also stunned and didn't look too good. What do you take us for? Yu Xingxing stared at Wang Xian coldly. Little brother, this exchange is held by our moon sect. Please don't slander our moon sect. The elders of the moon sect said in a deep voice. Hihi, I'll say it again. I'm not selling or trading Moonlight Bay. Don't try to buy it again and again. Wang Xian sneered and said to the few people from the moon sect. If you don't want to sell, we won't force you to sell. The elders of the moon sect stared at Wang Xian and said coldly with a tinge of displeasure, "This." The crowd fell silent and didn't dare to say a word. They didn't dare to comment on the matters of the moon sect. "Master, what happened?" At this time, a voice came from the side. Bei Shuang, who was dressed in plain clothes and had short hair, walked towards Wang Xian. She looked around and fixed her gaze on Wang Xian, who was in the middle. "That is Frost Goddess." "Master." Frost Goddess addressed that young man as Master. Could that young man be the master of Frost Goddess? Bei Shuang's sudden arrival stunned the people around her. They looked at her in astonishment. The Frost Goddess was now a popular figure on the entire Demon Island. The experts from various forces even paid her a visit. More than a year ago, the Frost Goddess had yet to reach the Divine King realm. However, in 2 years, she had the combat strength of an 8th-level immortal king. Such a terrifying improvement was even more shocking than the heavens-favored girl who suppressed the same era more than 30,000 years ago. If 30,000 years ago, she suppressed a young man of the same era. Now, she was suppressing the entire Demon Island. No one doubted that the returning Frost Goddess could become the strongest expert in this region. The title of Great Emperor had been secretly acknowledged by everyone. "It's nothing, just a small matter." Wang Xian looked at Bei Shuang and shook his head. You are Bei Shuang's master?" Seeing this, Yushin Xingguang stared at Wang Xian with a complicated expression. Wang Xian swept a glance at him and ignored him. Bei Shuang also looked at him coldly. Seeing that Wang Xian had ignored her, Yu Xingguang was a little embarrassed. The leader of a small force is qualified to be the master of the Frost Goddess. Yu Xingxing stared at Wang Xian with a little sarcasm. "Shut up. Elder Yu, is this how you teach your disciples?" As soon as he finished speaking, Bei Shuang's expression turned cold. An extremely cold aura instantly filled the surroundings as he stared coldly at Yushin and the elders of the Moonlight Great Sec. When Elder Yu saw Bei Shuang's reaction, his expression changed greatly. Yu Xingxing's face also turned pale. The surrounding experts held their breaths and stared blankly from the side. "Who?" The Moon Great Sect elder heaved a sigh of relief. His expression changed as he looked at Yu Xingxing. "Little light, hurry up and apologize to the Frost Goddess." Yu Xingxing's expression was incomparably ugly as she opened her mouth. "Apologize?" The elder of the Moon Sect shouted coldly. "Frost Goddess, I'm sorry." He gritted his teeth, lowered his head and apologized. "You should apologize to my master." Bei Shuang stared at him coldly. "I won't bother with him. He's just a small fry." Wang Xian looked at Bei Shuang and said plainly. After which, he turned around and walked out. It was already a pleasant surprise to reap one moonlight gulf. There was no need for him to stay here any longer. Bei Shuang stared coldly at Yu Xingxing before following Wang Xian out. "Small fry?" When Yu Xingxing heard Wang Xian's words, she clenched her fist tightly. "Little light, don't cause trouble. Don't offend the Frost Goddess." At this time, a voice rang in his mind. He shivered and nodded his head. The Frost Goddess was already an expert who had grown up. With the strength of an 8th-level immortal king, even the sects of the Moon Sect would find it difficult to kill her. After all, she could return to her own god kingdom instantly. If they couldn't kill her the first time, they would have to wait for the revenge of a demon-like expert. The sects of the Moon Sect didn't dare to take the risk. It wasn't worth it. The Frost Goddess seems to be very respectful to her master. She's actually so protective of him. How can she not be respectful? You should know that the Frost Goddess has been in seclusion for over 30,000 years. Without her master, she would still be in a corner. This is the luck of the Frost Goddess. It's also the luck of her master to be able to meet a master who possesses the art of frost cultivation. Who would dare to offend the leader of a small force in the future with the Frost Goddess? Even some of the sects would have to give him some face. Some people whispered as they watched them leave. As for Wang Xian, he had truly entered the sights of all the forces. As the master of the Frost Goddess, he had entered the sights of everyone. "Master, did you get any treasures from that place just now?" Bei Shuang asked as they flew out of the moon-beckoning planet. "Not bad. I got a treasure. It should be very useful. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. After chatting with Bei Shuang for a while, he returned to the main dragon palace. The Moonlight Gulf of the ancient pool is the ultimate treasure of the elves. It's definitely extraordinary. This Moonlight Gulf has some damage. I wonder if it can be repaired under the progenitor tree. Wang Xian came to the Dragon King Palace and walked to the dragon throne. The current progenitor tree had already reached a height of 500 meters. It was lush and full of vitality. There were many fruits on it. I wonder if this progenitor tree is comparable to the tree of life of the elves, he murmured. The tree of life was known as the #1 divine tree in the universe. He wondered how it would compare to the progenitor tree. Wang Xian felt that the progenitor tree might be even more magical than the tree of life. Wang. He waved his arm and placed the Moonlight Gulf of the ancient pool on the right side of the dragon throne. Wang wang wang. When the Moonlight Gulf landed under the progenitor tree, the entire ancient pool trembled slightly. A green glow floated out from within and connected to the progenitor tree. Swoosh. On the progenitor tree, a leaf landed slowly in the Moonlight Gulf. There are changes indeed, but I can't tell for now. Wang Xian looked at the Moonlight Gulf of the ancient pool and revealed a smile. I wonder if the essence of the moon will be born, he murmured. After observing for a while, he realized that the cracks on the Moonlight Gulf were recovering at a very slow speed. It should take some time. Wang Xian smiled and ignored it. He returned to the Dragon Peak of the Demon Island. Chapter 26-26, Wonderful Pop-Up Window Free Reading. The northern front of the Demon Islands welcomed a rare half a month of peace. However, the peaceful half a month did not cause the experts of the various forces to relax. Many treasures appeared at the Moon Sect's gathering. At the gathering, the other experts also got to know the master of the Goddess of Frost. Everyone was shocked at how protective the Goddess of Frost was. After all, the Goddess of Frost did not care about the face of the Moon Sect and questioned the elder of the sect. Fortunately, the Moon Sect was also in the wrong and bowed their heads. The master of the Goddess of Frost, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace of the Southern Star Galaxy, also entered the sights of some forces. When all the forces knew that the Dragon King led a group of experts and drove a powerful war machine to kill the 8th Order Immortal God King Abyss species, they were shocked. The Dragon King and the others were not as weak as they thought. Half a month passed and Wang Xian stayed in the Dragon Peak. The experts of the Dragon Palace were also in the Dragon Peak, waiting for the next war to break out. I guess the war will break out soon. Wang Xian stood on the command platform on the Dragon Peak, looking at the situation in the abyss and mumbling to himself. It's going to happen soon. Many abyss species have gathered here in the past few days and they are getting stronger, Tianjin said as he stared into the abyss from the side. I feel that there is a powerful existence behind these abyss species commanding them. Wang Xian frowned slightly. The abyss species came in batches, why not all at once? If that was the case, the forces at the northern front might not be able to hold them off. It's a little strange. These abyss species seem to be doing this on purpose to nurture powerful abyss species. Tianjin nodded his head slightly. The abyss species here are getting stronger and stronger. Last time, the weakest was level 1 Eternal God Lord. Now, the weakest is no lower than level 3 Eternal God Lord. He continued. The abyss species broke through very quickly. By devouring humans and their own kind, they could evolve rapidly. In the battle between humans and abyss species, the abyss species kept getting stronger. Although humans were getting stronger too, the speed was several times slower. If the war continued like this for more than a decade, if there was an endless supply of abyss species, the weakest would probably be Immortal God King. I heard that the central island of the Emperor Star region, the Imperial Court, and the Deep Abyss are also moving. I wonder if it's true. Wang Xian mumbled to himself as he recalled the information he had read on the artificial intelligence over the past few days. At this time, a series of roars came from the abyss ahead. Another group of abyssal species has come. The war is about to break out. Wang Xian looked over and saw countless abyssal species flying over from the depths of the abyss. One could vaguely feel the majestic might of the leader. All members of Dragon Palace, get ready. He shouted softly. All disciples of Beichuan sect, prepare for battle. Just as Wang Xian finished his sentence, a voice came from the side of Beichuan sect. The battle broke out again. This time, let's try to kill more powerful abyss species. Wang Xian stood on the podium and exuded a chilling aura. If he wanted to improve himself, he would need around 10 Undying God King level 8th order abyss-type crystals. If they could kill 10 Undying God King stage 8 abyss species, Dragon Palace's strength would rise to another level. Depart. Tianjin shouted softly and the entire Dragon Peak started moving. The current Dragon Peak had undergone a qualitative change compared to the Dragon Peak from the previous war. Previously, Dragon Peak only had 1,000 Undying God King level experts. This time, it had increased to 5,000. Including himself and Tianjin, the number of 8th order Undying God King stage experts had reached 4. Wang. Dragon Peak trembled slightly and arrived in front of Beichuan sect's planet in an instant. Bei Shuang, come over here. Wang Xian looked to the side and shouted to Bei Shuang. This area was one of the 2 areas that suffered the heaviest attacks from Beichuan sect. Previously, it was guarded by an old ancestor of Beichuan sect. This time, Bei Shuang swapped places with that old ancestor, and she was guarding this area. Yes, master. Bei Shuang nodded and immediately flew towards the podium. An elder at the side looked on and did not say a word. With Dragon Peak's help, things would be much easier for them. There are 2 8th order Undying God King level abyss species in this area, and 1,500 Undying God Kings. Dragon Peak, charge. All members, get ready to hunt. Looking at the results of the array formation, Tianjin let out a soft shout. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Dragon Peak let out a thunderous roar and charged forward. Roar, roar, roar. In front, 7 to 8 million abyss species were also charging over. However, the abyss species were a little stunned. This was the first time someone dared to charge at them in such an arrogant manner. Dragon Palace is a little fierce, relying on Dragon Peak's war machine to charge at the abyss species. Behind them, the people from Beichuan sect were slightly shocked. We will guard this area, don't charge forward. The elder from Beichuan sect had seen the strength of Dragon Palace and reminded the disciples. Roar, roar, roar. In front, the huge Dragon Peak attracted the attention of a large number of abyss species. In an instant, millions of abyss species pounced towards Dragon Peak. Attack! At this time, Mao Zedong's voice rang out from the arrow podium. Swish, swish, swish. In the next instant, countless densely packed arrows flew forward. Mao Zedong pulled back his bowstring and locked his eyes on an 8th order Undying God King level abyss species that was charging towards them. Roving demon, get ready. With a light shout, the arrow in his hand instantly shot out. Roar, roar, roar. As the arrow flew out, it instantly transformed into a 10-meter-long golden dragon. Around the golden dragon were numerous green vortexes. As the arrow left the arrow, it instantly appeared in front of the 8th order Undying God King level abyss species. In the middle, it pierced through a few hundred abyss species without any decrease in speed. Roar, roar. The 8th order Undying God King level abyss species could feel the threat from the arrow. It roared and swung its hammer-like tail towards the arrow. Peng! A terrifying collision resounded and the shockwave caused many abyss species within a 100 kilometers radius to die or be heavily injured. Pu. At the moment of collision, a black and white shadow appeared behind the 8th order Undying God King level abyss species and pierced through its body. Su. On the arrow podium, Mao Zedong fired another arrow, turning into a smooth arc that landed on the 8th order Undying God King level abyss species. Roar, roar. A voice filled with endless fear rang out from its mouth as its body floated downwards heavily. Chapter 26-27, Wonderful Pop-Up Window Free Reading. So strong, so terrifying. Instantly killing a rank 8 abyss species. After the Undying God King rank 8 abyss species was killed, it was at the back. Because Dragon Palace's Dragon Peak had taken the lead, they had not clashed with the abyss species yet. Now, a group of Undying God Kings with better eyesight saw the terrifying attack of Dragon Palace land on that Undying God King level 8 abyss species. 2 attacks, along with that black and white shadow, instantly killed it. An undying God King rank 8 abyss species was instantly killed. This power was truly terrifying. Even if all the experts from North Stream sect gathered together, it would be hard to do so. Su. However, very quickly, they saw a series of terrifying arrows flying towards the countless abyss species. Pu. The next moment, they saw incomparably powerful arrows piercing through the powerful abyssal species one after another. In just one round of attacks, at least hundreds of thousands of abyss species were killed. Moreover, the elders and experts from North Stream sect noticed that in that round of attacks, over 200 undying God King rank abyss species were killed. This power. Sigh, this dragon palace is even stronger than the last time. Can our North Stream sect even compare to this? Some of the experts from North Stream sect looked on in shock. Su. The second round of attacks began. Countless arrows pierced through the abyss species. Within the Heaven's Eye arrow unit, there were over 2,000 undying God King rank experts. Under this round of attacks, even the undying God King abyss species could not withstand it. The arrows reaped the lives of the undying God King abyss species. By the side, the undying God King rank 8 abyss species revealed a look of fear when he saw Longfeng's attack. It let out a low roar in panic and immediately fled into the distance. It escaped. Wang Xian, who was standing on the command platform, frowned slightly. The mysterious beasts, don't let them escape. Wang Xian pondered for a moment before giving the order. Yes, Dragon King. A voice rang out. The spike dragon immediately flew out of Dragon Peak and killed those abyss species that were trying to escape. There are 13 undying God King rank 7 abyss species. We cannot let them escape. Tianjin murmured as he controlled Dragon Peak to fly towards the abyss. This. So strong. Wen Bei Shuang, who was standing beside Wang Xian, saw this scene. A tinge of shock flashed in her eyes. She did not expect the Dragon Palace to be so powerful. When the Dragon Palace charged directly towards the area where the abyss species were densely packed, it incurred the wrath of countless abyss species. If there were 1 or 2 million of them just now, there would be 5 or 6 million of them now. Above, below, close to 70% of the undying God King abyss species attacked. Very good. Seeing that most of the abyss species were attacking them, Tianjin smiled. Fire Hammer Tribe, prepare to attack. Sky Eye Arrow Unit, kill the undying God King level abyss race first. Heavenly Formation immediately gave the order. Su. In the next moment, the 1,000 Inferno Golden Swords created by the Fire Hammer clan that could rival Undying God Kings activated. Under Mao Zedong's lead, the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit locked onto the Undying God Kings. With an 8th order Undying God King like him, killing weaker abyss beasts was a piece of cake. Under the situation where he could not return to his own God Kingdom in an instant, he killed 1 7th order Undying God King level abyss race with a single arrow, following which, the abyss race was being slaughtered at a terrifying speed. Facing the Dragon Palace experts in the Dragon Peak, the abyss race in this area had no way of resisting. Too strong, we don't even need to do anything. Very strong, we basically don't need to do anything. Behind them, the group of North River sect disciples saw that the Dragon Peak was fending off most of the abyss race, and they were dumbfounded. Especially when the abyss race was being slaughtered madly. In a short few minutes, half of the abyss race that came to attack had already been killed. This strength was too heaven-defying. So strong, we don't even need to defend here anymore. The elder from North River sect was shocked. He hesitated for a moment, and reported the situation here to the rest of the sect. If the other places needed support, they could go over. Is the Dragon Palace that strong? They actually managed to fend off the abyss race from the Star-Wen planet, and even wantonly slaughtered them. At the same time, in front of a planet near the center of the northern border, an old man from North River sect saw the news, and his face lit up with joy. He looked at the battle in front of him. The sect leader and 3 old ancestors were all out, fighting against 7 8th order Undying God King level abyss race. Elder Bay, if you can provide support, immediately bring the experts to the center. We have too many abyss race here, they are too strong. The old man immediately sent a message to Elder Bay. Leave a quarter of the disciples to defend here, the rest of the disciples and experts, Follow me to the center. Elder Bay received the message, looked at the dragon peak in front of him, and immediately ordered the surrounding disciples and expert. Yes. The group of people moved, and immediately rushed towards another direction. They were no longer needed here. Su, Su, Su. Pu, Pu, Pu. Around the dragon peak, the group of Dragon Palace members were killing abyss race after abyss race. After the mysterious demons made their move, their killing speed became even more terrifying. 5 to 6 million abyss race might seem like a lot, but the Heaven's Eye arrow unit could shoot thousands of arrows in a second. Even if they killed one in a second, 35,000 Heaven's Eye arrow unit members could kill close to 2 million in a minute. After obtaining these resources, Dragon Palace will be able to improve crazily. Using war to nurture war, Dragon Palace's speed of improvement was even more terrifying. Just these corpses alone, Dragon Palace could increase the fighting strength of 2 8th Order Undying God Kings. As for the rest, needless to say. Subsequently, in a short 5 minutes, Dragon Palace killed 7 to 8 million abyss race. One by one, the corpses were collected by the mysterious demons. Done, we can go to other places. Wang Xian swept his gaze across, and squinted his eyes. Bei Shuang, ask North River sect which side has more abyss race. We will kill our way there immediately. He looked at Bei Shuang, and said with a smile. Yes, Master. Bei Shuang nodded, feeling grateful in her heart. Dragon Palace's help was a great help to North River sect. Otherwise, who knew how many North River sect disciples would have died here? Master, North River sect center is in danger. There are 7 8th Order Undying God King abyss race. Soon, Bei Shuang reported to Wang Xian with a grave expression. Chapter 26-28, Wonderful Pop-Up Window Free Reading. 7 Rank 8 Undying God King Abyss Species? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow when he heard Bei Shuang. Lead the way, he said immediately. Bei Chuan's sect and Dragon Palace could easily deal with and even kill 7 Rank 8 Abyss species. This was good news for the Dragon Palace. Yes, Master. Master, according to the news from Elder Deacon, the invasion this time is more ferocious than the previous few times. There are many powerful abyss species. Bei Shuang said with a solemn expression. It had only been a little more than a month, and it was already somewhat difficult to resist. If this continued, it was likely that the northern front would be breached. Once it was breached, the abyss species would expand rapidly and occupy 2/5 of the entire Demon Island. If they retreated further, the entire Demon Island would be conquered. At that time, the trillions of people on the Demon Island would be rootless and the death toll would be uncountable. Therefore, they could not retreat from the northern front unless it was absolutely necessary. Even if they had to sacrifice countless lives, they had to defend this place. Is that so? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. Once the forces at the northern front could not hold on, Dragon Palace could forget about getting the abyss species so easily. It's right ahead. Long Feng was fast and arrived in front of a planet in less than 10 minutes. This planet was obviously much bigger than the other planet. In front of the planet, countless abyss species were roaring. In the sky above the abyss, 4 old men were struggling to fend off 7 Rank 8 Undying God King abyss species. One of the old men only had half his body left and looked extremely miserable. Below them, tens of millions of Bei Chuan sect experts and disciples were fighting with tens of millions of abyss species. The entire battlefield was filled with blood and looked extremely tragic. Sect leader. Bei Shuang's expression changed slightly at the sight of the devastation. With a loud shout, he immediately flew up into the sky above the abyss. Shuang, be careful. Bei Chuan sect leader and the rest were overjoyed when they saw Bei Shuang and the people from Dragon Palace. Sect leader, I'm here to support you. Bei Shuang cast a glance at Wang Xian before flying into the void. Be careful, we just need to hold them back. Sect Master Kitagawa and the rest growled with solemn expressions. 7 Undying God King Level 8 Abyss Species. This was completely out of their expectations. However, they could not retreat. They could only fight for time so that the Bei Chuan sect disciples below could kill more abyssal species. As long as they killed half of the abyssal species, they would be able to retreat from the abyssal species. Come on, let's charge over. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the array in front of Tianzhen. His eyes were burning with passion as he bellowed in a low voice. All members of Dragon Palace, get ready to kill, ha ha ha. Tianzhen also laughed wantonly. The number of abyss species in front of them was indeed a huge resource for the Dragon Palace. Boom boom boom. Long Feng sped up and flew towards the battlefield like a gigantic space beast. The experts from Dragon Palace are here to support us. I heard they easily killed an undying God King level 8 abyss species. Hold on, everyone. The experts of Dragon Palace are here to support us. The Beichuan sect disciples had some understanding of Dragon Palace's strength. Seeing the huge Long Feng charging over, everyone's faces were filled with excitement. Especially the reinforcements from Beichuan sect. They had just witnessed how the experts from Dragon Palace killed an undying God King level 8 abyss species in an instant, while another fled in fear. They even killed over 1,000 undying God King level abyss species and 5 to 6 million normal abyssal species. All Beichuan sect disciples, get out of the way, charge. Tianzhen rode on Long Feng as he stared at the battlefield in front of him and charged over. At the same time, Tianzhen licked his lips as array compasses appeared before him. Wong wong wong. In the next instant, the entire Long Feng shuddered as numerous thorns covered the area. Each of the thorns had a 1,000-meter-long spike on it. Get out of the way, get out of the way. What are Dragon Palace trying to do? Are they going to charge over? So ferocious. The experts and disciples from Beichuan sect were slightly shocked as they saw Long Feng charging over. The disciples who were in the way immediately dodged to the side. Roar, roar, roar. Long Feng's speed was extremely fast. The moment he entered the battlefield, his huge body attracted the attention of countless abyssal species. Countless abyssal species charged towards Long Feng. Fire. On the arrow platform, Mao Zedong stared coldly at the millions of abyssal species around him as he roared. Su, su, su. In the next instant, numerous arrows arced through the space of the abyss and shot towards the abyssal species. Pu, pu, pu. 1 second, in just 1 second, 35,000 members of the Heaven's Eye arrow unit each shot out over 1,000 arrows. Every arrow was like a scythe that reaped the lives of the abyssal species. Even 3 of the rank 7 undying God King abyssal species were killed by Mao Zedong. As the Heaven's Eye arrow unit members attacked, Long Feng continued charging forward with an invincible aura. Peng, peng, peng. Some of the abyssal species that were not hit by the Heaven's Eye arrow unit members directly charged towards Long Feng. Long Feng's invincible aura instantly suppressed hundreds of thousands of abyssal species. Kill. Ao Xingmu stood at the entrance of a cave and roared. Su, su, su. The next moment, the thorny vines attacked the abyss species one by one like a dragon python in the dark. In just an instant, Long Feng and the members of Dragon Palace killed over 1 million abyssal species. In the battlefield, Long Feng directly charged into a vacuum. Long Feng directly charged into the camp of the abyssal species. Hiss. All the experts and disciples of North Stream sect could not help but inhale deeply when they saw this scene. This is too ferocious. The experts of Dragon Palace are too terrifying. So strong, that Long Feng is too terrifying. Even the attacks of rank 5 and 6 undying God King abyssal species did not leave a single mark on it. Too strong, this Long Feng is too strong, and the archers on Long Feng are even more terrifying. There are even rank 8 undying God King archers. All the members of North Stream sect could not help but exclaim in a low voice as their morale soared. Dragon Palace was 10 times stronger than they had imagined. Ha ha ha, good, good. In the sky, Beishuang's support allowed North Stream sect leader and the rest to slow down. They could not help but roar in excitement when they saw this scene. In front of them, 7 rank 8 undying God King abyssal species looked down with bloodthirsty eyes, their faces filled with rage. 3 of the undying God King abyssal species moved, intending to attack Long Feng. You want support? Stay here then. Beishuang roared, freezing everything within 1 billion miles, causing the speed of the 7 rank 8 undying God King abyssal species to decrease greatly. Don't seal it, let them over. Wang Xian's eyes swept across and said immediately. Chapter 26-29, Yes, master. Within the abyss, Beishuang heard Wang Xian's words and did not hesitate to stop the 3 undying God King abyss species. What is Dragon King trying to do? Beichuan and the rest were shocked when they heard Wang Xian's word. Without Beishuang and the rest to stop them, the 3 rank 8 undying God King abyss species roared furiously and stared at Dragon Peak with bloodthirsty eyes as they pounced towards Dragon Peak. Gugugu. One of the rank 8 undying God King abyss species opened its mouth and its stomach suddenly expanded. Rumble. A terrifying wave of darkness energy surged towards Dragon Peak. The terrifying attacks caused Sect Master Kitagawa and the rest to be unable to help but raise their eyebrows. 7 rank 8 undying God King abyss species, they had to deal with 4 of them, the pressure was much less. Dragon Palace had purposely let 3 of them come over, could they really kill them? 3 rank 8 undying God King abyss species, even they would have a hard time killing them. Roving Demon, Mao Zedong, get ready, kill these 3 rank 8 abyss species. Tianjin saw the abyss species attacking Dragon Peak and his eyes flashed with a cold light. All right. Below, Mao Zedong pulled his bow to the max and shot an arrow towards the wave of darkness. The terrifying collision caused the arrow and the current to dissipate. Let's attack together. Wang Xian stared at the 3 rank 8 undying God King abyss species and flew out. His eyes locked onto one of the abyss species. Dragon Claw. Wang Xian's arm reached out and attacked that rank 8 undying God King abyss species. Roar. That abyss species roared and extended its dragon claw. Black flames condensed on it as it welcomed the dragon claw. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Consecutive clashing sounds could be heard. Have a taste of the power of Dragon Peak's array. Tianjin stood on the command platform, waving the array formation compass with both hands. Hualala. The sound of branches could be heard from Dragon Peak. The entire branch covered in thorny vines rapidly extended forward. The countless vines gathered together and formed a terrifying monster. The huge monster charged towards one of the abyss species. Wang Xian locked onto one, Mao Zedong locked onto another, Dragon Peak's array locked onto another. In an instant, the 3 undying God Kings were suppressed. On the Dragon Peak, the Heavenly Eye Arrow unit, the Starwood Dragon species, and the mysterious demon were frantically hunting the abyssal demons around them. Su su su. Bam bam bam. Ao ao. At the center of the mountain was a monster formed by countless thorns. Thick thorns fell on its body, causing it to let out a miserable shriek. Instant attack, instant suppression. The thorny monster condensed by the Dragon Peak's array formation could easily suppress a rank 8 abyss species. Roar. The rank 8 abyss species was covered in blood. The fresh blood made it even more violent. Countless cyan blades slashed at the thorn monster. Su su su. However, at this moment, 2 strangely shaped thorny monsters flew out from behind the Dragon Peak. Streams of nomological thorns directly sealed the void behind them. Roar. The rank 8 abyss species was slightly shocked. It let out a low growl with some fear and lowered its body slightly. Su su su. Following which, a series of attacks flew towards the rank 8 abyss species. As the attacks landed, more and more wounds appeared on its body. The rank 8 abyss species revealed a look of panic and fear. It was completely unstoppable. There was no way to resist. The current heavenly array could be said to be the strongest array formation of the Dragon Peak. The array he set up could eliminate 2 to 3 8th level undying God King existences. It was to eliminate, not resist. When the array was activated, an undying God King abyss species could not resist. Dragon Claw. Ahead, Wang Xian was fighting against a rank 8 abyss species. His dragon claw slashed out continuously, clashing with it time and time again. The mystical dragon race's strength lay in their physique and origin laws. Wang Xian covered the dragon claw with the laws as he swung it around. A human controlling a 10,000-meter-long dragon claw. From afar, this scene was a little strange, and even comical. But fighting to the death with a Tier 8 abyss species, everyone would tremble. That Dragon King is also an 8th level undying God King. The experts from Beichuan sect saw the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, Beishuang's master, fighting against an 8th level undying God King abyss species alone, and their faces were filled with shock. That Dragon King was not a 7th level Undying God King, but had the same strength as their sect's peak expert. Zhuang-Er's attacks are similar to that Dragon King's. Seems like Dragon King must have taught her. Beichuan sect leader and the few old ancestors looked over, their eyes gleaming. They looked at Bei Shuang, who also used his terrifying ice claws to attack. This kind of attack looked abnormally powerful and berserk. Boom boom boom. Terrifying sounds of collisions rang out continuously. The arrival of Wang Xian and the rest had greatly reduced the pressure on the entire Beichuan sect. As for the number of abyss species, they were being slaughtered at a terrifying speed. There were 5,000 Undying God King experts in Dragon Palace, and there were quite a number of 7th level experts as well. Towards the surrounding abyss species, it was a massacre. Ao. After fighting for 3 minutes, a blood-curdling scream suddenly came from the interior of the thorny area. This is a rank 8 abyss species has been killed. Upon hearing this sound, Beichuan sect leader and the rest immediately looked towards the thorny area. Swish swish swish. At this moment, countless thorny monsters charged towards the abyss species in front of Wang Xian. What a fast speed! Wang Xian smiled when he saw the sky formation finishing off one abyss species. At the same time, he attacked with his dragon claws. That abyss species saw the thorny monsters charging towards it, and its expression changed drastically. It quickly tried to block. Fart. The attacks from the dragon claws were followed by the thorny attacks. Just as it was defending with all its might, a creepy black and white shadow appeared behind it. The black and white shadow penetrated its body instantly. Roar roar. It widened its eyes, let out a low growl, and its body was trembling. Surround and kill the third one. Seeing that the abyss species was being attacked, Wang Xian immediately locked his gaze on the rank 8 abyss species that Mao Zedong was attacking. That rank 8 abyss species saw Wang Xian and the thorny monsters, as well as that creepy black and white shadow, and it was horrified. Don't let it escape. Seeing that it was trying to escape, Wang Xian immediately roared. Swish swish swish. Thorny vines and arrows immediately sealed off its position. Boom. Wang Xian's dragon claws clawed towards it. Roar. It roared furiously. Under the siege, it could only block the attacks with all its might. Fart. Roving demon's figure flashed past it, leaving a serious injury on its body. Wang Xian and Mao Zedong's attacks came again. Chapter 2630, 6-9 Chinese Language Network. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Kill. A cold roar came from Wang Xian's mouth. The heavily injured rank 8 Undying God King abyss species was instantly hit. Roar. A cry of despair came from its mouth. Roving demon's figure once again appeared behind it. Fart. The scythe of the Grim Reaper fell, instantly killing it. So strong, Dragon Palace actually killed 3 rank 8 Undying God King abyss species in such a short time. This Dragon Palace is stronger than us. Beichuan sect leader and the few old ancestors exchanged glances, their eyes filled with shock. 3 rank 8 Undying God King abyss species, all killed in 5 minutes. Such strength, Beichuan sect could not do it. Leave these 4 rank 8 abyss species behind. Wang Xian saw that the 3 abyss species were all killed. He smiled and looked at the 4 rank 8 abyss species that were being held back by Bei Shuang and the rest. Yes, Dragon King, we, Beichuan sect, will never forget your kindness today. Beichuan sect leader and the rest's eyes shone brightly as they shouted. Surround them. One of the old ancestors of Beichuan sect shouted, and the 5 of them immediately surrounded the 4 rank 8 abyss species. The 4 rank 8 abyss species swept their gazes over Wang Xian's direction, revealing an anxious expression. They all pounced towards an old man at the side, trying to carve out a path for themselves. Ice wall. Bei Shuang waved his ice claws, pointing at the abyss species. Endless snow-white frost immediately formed an incomparably huge ice wall. The ice wall was extremely thick, and the 4 abyss species' attacks only caused it to crumble. For beasts, don't even think of escaping. Beichuan sect leader roared, a long spear appeared in his hand, piercing towards the abyss species. Seal. At this time, the voice of the Dragon Peak array sounded. 3 terrifying monsters formed from thorns took up a triangular position. The dense thorns formed a line of defense. Kill. Wang Xian charged over. Mao Zedong stood on the archery platform, pulling his bowstring to the maximum, firing arrows at the 4 rank 8 Undying God King Abyss species. Next, the battle continued. But this time, Bei Chuan Sect and Bei Shuang had a total of 5 8th Order Immortal King Realm experts, while Wang Xian, Mao Zedong, and Ao Yarrow Heavenly Array had 4. However, their battle prowess could not be measured by just 4. Their powerful array formation was even more terrifying. Facing the 4 Undying God King Abyss species, after they were trapped, they were quickly killed one by one. Each time Roving Demon attacked, it would cause a rank 8 abyssal species to fall or heavily injure. Sect leader Kitagawa and the others couldn't even sense Roving Demon's presence. This caused sect leader Bei Chuan and the others to be filled with shock and fear. Very soon, one rank 8 abyss species after another were killed. Ha ha ha. Good, good, good. When the last type 8 abyss monster was killed by Roving Demon, sect leader Kitagawa and the rest could not help but burst out laughing, their faces filled with excitement. Thank you, Dragon King. Thank you, experts of the Dragon Palace, for lending a hand. We, the Beichuan clan, will definitely repay your kindness today. Sect leader Kitagawa and the rest thanked Wang Xian and the rest again. You don't have to be so polite. We'll be taking these abyssal crystals. Wang Xian chuckled as he spoke to sect leader Kitagawa and the rest. Haha, of course, of course. These abyssal crystals will naturally belong to the Dragon Palace. Sect leader Kitagawa nodded his head immediately. Wang Xian chuckled as he got Mao Zedong and the rest to keep the corpses. He was also excited. 8 rank 8 Undying God King Abyss species corpses. To the entire Dragon Palace, this was a huge resource. Moreover, there were corpses of other abyssal species around. Our sect leader and the rest joined forces with the experts of the Dragon Palace to kill those 7 rank 8 Undying God King Abyss species. They're too strong. Ha ha ha, the experts of the Dragon Palace are too strong. They're practically invincible. Look at the archers on the Dragon Peak. These abyssal species were easily killed. Behind them, the disciples of the Beichuan clan watched this scene with excitement. With the 7 rank 8 abyss species killed, there was no longer any threat to the Beichuan clan. Coupled with the help of the experts from the Dragon Palace, Beichuan sect suffered the least losses in this battle. Our Dragon Python group is unable to hold on for much longer. Which forces have experts? Please send help. Our Dragon Python group is willing to give you some shares. If you send help, you'll be the benefactor of our Dragon Python group. Just as the North Creek clan was celebrating and the Dragon Palace was crazily hunting and collecting the corpses of the abyss species, a voice suddenly came from the right. Something happened to the Dragon Python group? Sect leader Kitagawa and the rest were slightly shocked. Their faces were solemn. The Dragon Python group was asking for help, and was even willing to pay such a huge price. It must have reached a terrible stage. It might even have reached a stage where they could not resist. Otherwise, they wouldn't be asking for help. The Dragon Python group is asking for help. Wang Xian raised an eyebrow, his eyes gleaming. Tianjin, can the array detect the situation over at the Dragon Python group? He immediately asked the heavenly formation beside him. Yes, Dragon King. There are 8 rank 8 Undying God King Abyss species there. Tianjin looked at the array and nodded his head. 8. I can handle it. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and nodded. Everyone from the Dragon Python group, hold on, we'll be there immediately. He shouted and immediately went to the command platform of Dragon Peak. Bei Shuang. Wang Xian looked at Bei Shuang and called out to her. Over at Dragon Palace, they could kill 5 rank 8 Undying God King Abyss species. 5 was the limit, but there were 8 over there. He wanted to bring Bei Shuang along. Yes, Master. Bei Shuang nodded her head and flew towards Dragon Peak's command platform. Sect leader Kitagawa, you guys take care of things here. We'll go to the Dragon Python group to kill more abyss species. Wang Xian said to sect leader Kitagawa and the rest. Tianjin drove Dragon Peak and flew towards the right at a terrifying speed. All right. Sect leader Kitagawa and the rest saw Wang Xian's reply and nodded their head. The 7 rank 8 Undying God King Abyss species on their side had been killed, and the rest of the Undying God King Abyss species were almost completely wiped out. There was no longer any danger here. They just needed to make a few moves and they would be able to finish off the rest of the Abyss species. Given Dragon Palace's strength, they should be able to obtain quite a number of Abyss species crystals. An old ancestor looked at the departing Dragon Peak and said, "That's what the Dragon Palace deserves. They're so strong, and they dared to take the risk. It's only right for them to get some Abyss species crystals." Another old ancestor said plainly, the Abyss species were not as important as the reinforcements from the Dragon Palace to these factions that were stationed here. In fact, these factions were even willing to use all their Abyss species to ask for help from the Dragon Palace. Chapter 2631. An expert responded to us? Which faction? In front of the planet occupied by the Dragon Python group, within the endless abyss, 7 to 8 million disciples were fighting against the Abyss creatures. The entire Abyss creatures were littered with broken bodies, broken arms, legs, and even heads floated about on the battlefield. Compared to Beichuan sect, the situation here was even worse. There were over 1 million Abyss creature corpses, and this was after most of the corpses were devoured by the Abyss creatures. In a short half an hour of battle, the Dragon Python group had lost 2 to 3 million people. In the air, the 4 elders of the Dragon Python group each held a shield. The shield was engraved with a mystical dragon. One look was enough to tell that it was not ordinary. Peng peng peng. In front of them, an incomparably huge pitch-black tail swept over and struck an old man's shield. The elder was instantly sent flying backwards, blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, his face slightly pale. An expert has responded. Which force is this expert from? The 4 upper echelons of the Dragon Python group relied on the Dragon Python God Shield to defend against the 8 Undying God King Abyss creatures. If not for the Dragon Python God Shield, the greatest treasure and trump card of the Dragon Python group, they would have long been killed. Even so, the 4 of them were pale, unable to hold on for much longer. After all, there were 8 Undying God King Abyss creatures on their side. I don't know, this voice sounds a little young. Is it someone from the Moon sect? An elder by the side roared with a sunken face, the Dragon Python God Shield interweaved, blocking the terrifying attack. No matter who it is, as long as someone comes to help, they are the benefactors of our Dragon Python group. We cannot place our hopes on others. Hold them off, hold them off. An old man dressed in a yellow dragon python roared solemnly. His body was filled with majesty. These 4 were the strongest experts of the factions that had stood in this space for tens of millions of years. One look from them could suffocate others. If the ones that come are too weak, who knows how many of our disciples will be left after the battle? An old man said with an incomparably ugly expression. The losses were too great. Bang bang bang. At the same time, in front of the planets on the northern front, Dragon Peak was flying towards the right at a terrifying speed. They did not charge through the Abyss creatures, because they were not strong enough. Boom boom boom. When they passed by the center of the planet, an even more terrifying sound came from the Abyss. Wang Xian looked over and saw 5 figures engaged in a grand battle. On the command platform, there were 5 black dots, representing 5 9th Order Immortal God King Realm existences. Among them, there were 3 9th Order Immortal King Realm experts from the Crescent Great Sect. As for whether there were any stronger experts, no one knew. The battle between 9th Order Immortal God King Realm experts was even more shocking, as the shockwaves of the battle spread over hundreds of millions of li. Just the aftermath of this battle was enough to destroy some stars. After this battle, the Dragon Palace will be able to produce 9th Order Immortal God King Realm expert. Wang Xian swept his gaze across and his eyes sparkled. Dragon King, the Dragon Python group is just up ahead. After flying at full speed for 15 minutes, Long Feng arrived in front of a planet. His eyes flickered as he looked at the abyssal species in front of him. It was too miserable. Too many people had died. The number of abyssal species here was even higher than Beichuan clans. Everyone from the Dragon Python group, our Dragon Palace is here to support you. Long Feng arrived in front of the Dragon Python group's planet and charged straight into the abyss. Wang Xian swept his gaze across and called out, "Dragon Palace." Dragon Palace? That's the strength of the Frost Goddess's master. Great, Dragon Palace has the strength to kill an 8th Order immortal God King. When the 4 old men with the dragon python shields saw Long Foam coming over, their eyes lit up with excitement. Dragon Palace had the record of killing an 8th Order immortal God King realm abyss species. Thank you, Dragon King, for your help. The Dragon Python group is extremely grateful. Please help us fend off these 8 abyssal species. As long as we can hold them off for half an hour, we should be able to overcome this crisis. One of the experts from the Dragon Python group said. Don't worry, since we're here, we can easily kill these abyssal species. Tianzhan replied, and Long Foam soon arrived at the battlefield. Huh! Everyone from the Dragon Python group was shocked when they heard Tianzhan's word. We just need the experts from Dragon Palace to help us fend them off. One of the old men from the Dragon Python group could not help but say, kill. But just as he finished his sentence, Tianzhan gave the order. Before Long Foam entered the battlefield, a series of arrows covered the sky and shot towards the abyssal species ahead. Blazing golden swords, attack. The Fire Hammer race also launched their attacks against the abyssal species ahead. Thousands of divine weapons shot out blazing golden swords and charged into the battlefield. Ice Dragon Rend. Hovering above the dragon peak, North Frost waved his arm, and a frost divine dragon condensed from ice charged forward. Ka, Ka, Ka. It flew to the center of the abyssal species and let out a cracking sound. Bam! Following that, countless icicles shot towards the surroundings and pierced through the abyssal species. So strong. The experts from Dragon Palace are so strong. Frost Goddess is here too. Thank you, Dragon Palace, thank you. When Dragon Palace's first round of attack arrived, everyone from the Dragon Python group was shocked. Then, their eyes lit up with excitement. Some of the disciples from the Dragon Python group were so excited that their bodies were trembling. Just in time. Tens of thousands of disciples from the Dragon Python group died every minute. Now that the experts from Dragon Palace had arrived, millions of abyssal species were killed in a single round of attack. This would save a lot of lives for the Dragon Python group. Some of the higher-ups of the Dragon Python group were filled with gratitude. One had to know that the people who had died were their disciples, their family members. Ha ha ha, thank you, Dragon Palace. In the future, with just a word from you, Dragon King, the Dragon Python group will fight for Dragon Palace. The 4 pinnacle experts from the Dragon Python group were thrilled to see this. Hee, everyone from the Dragon Python group, we are fighting for the abyssal species. The abyssal species that we kill will belong to us. Wang Xian smiled faintly as he stared at the 8-rank 8 immortal king realm abyssal species above him. Everyone, let's join forces and kill those 8 beasts. He let out a soft shout. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Long Foam charged into the center of the battlefield and placed several array compass in front of him. Swoosh. Bei Shuang leaped into the air and floated beside the 4 old men. Wang Xian also flew over. What? Kill 8 rank 8 abyssal species? The 4 pinnacle experts from the Dragon Python group were shocked. Chapter 2632, Wonderful Pop-Up Window Free Reading. Dragon King, with our strength, it might be a little difficult to kill these 8 beasts. Within the abyss, the 4 old men from the Dragon Python group felt that Wang Xian's words were a little too far-fetched. The 4 of you from the Dragon Python group, can you guys handle 3 rank 8 immortal king abyss demons? Upon hearing their words, Wang Xian made a move and flew towards them directly. 3 is naturally not a problem. With our strength, we might not be able to kill 3 of them, but we can trap all 3 of them to death. The chairman of the Dragon Python group replied immediately. They had the Dragon Python Divine Shield, and while their attacks might not be the top amongst the rank 8 Immortal King realm, their defense was definitely something other rank 8 Immortal King Abyss demons could not match up to. Alright, you guys can trap 3 of them. Wang Xian nodded immediately. Whoosh. As his words landed, Bei Shuang's figure appeared beside Wang Xian. Leave the other 5 to us. Wang Xian roared and extended his arm, sending a gigantic dragon claw towards the abyss demons. Voila! At the side, North Frost similarly stretched out his frost claws, and then two extremely enormous claws attack. Whoosh whoosh. On the archery platform, Mao Zedong's bow was drawn to the max, and he locked onto one of the rank 8 Immortal King Abyss demons. Wung wung wung. At this time, the dragon peak shook slightly, and three thorny monsters flew towards Wang Xian's side, the thorny vines attacking the rank 8 Immortal King Abyss demon. In an instant, the 5 Immortal King Abyss demons were attacked by Wang Xian's group, and they charged over. This Dragon Palace can kill 5 rank 8 Immortal King Abyss demons. The people from the Dragon Python group looked over, and their eyes were filled with shock. Old Fang, look, there are so many experts from Dragon Palace on the Dragon Peak. However, at this time, a rank 8 expert from the Dragon Python group looked towards the Dragon Peak, and his eyes were filled with shock. On the Dragon Peak, a group of powerful archers were slaughtering the Abyss demons. Even some rank 7 Immortal King Abyss demons could not withstand the attacks of those Abyss demons. Each arrow was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Other than the arrows, there were also the blazing golden swords, each with undying God King level attack power. Good, good, good. Our disciples will have fewer casualties. The Dragon Palace is very strong, and the Dragon Peak is also very heaven-defying. The 4 Type 8 experts of the Dragon Python group heaved a sigh of relief. No matter what, they had survived this crisis. Boom 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 boom. At this time, the battle between Wang Xian and the Abyss demons had completely erupted. Wang Xian, North Frost, Mao Zedong, and the 3 bramble monsters that could kill undying God Kings. 6 rank 8s against 5 rank 8s. Most importantly, Roving Demon was still waiting in the dark. Once he made his move, it would be the time for an undying God King Abyss species to fall. A great battle broke out. The Thorn Monster was suppressing the 3 Abyss species, while Wang Xian and Mao Zedong were attacking 1 Abyss species. Bei Shuang was dealing with 1 Abyss species alone. Berserk attacks, chaotic energy. The situation on the side of the Dragon Python group immediately stabilized. Below them, they were slaughtering the Abyss species. SSS. The Dragon Palace is so strong. They can actually suppress 5 rank 8 Abyss species. The Frost Goddess was also called over by the Dragon King. Frost Goddess is also very strong, be it in defense or attack. The strength of the Dragon Palace is much stronger than ours, and this might not be the full strength of the Dragon Palace. This time, we owe the Dragon Palace a huge favor. A minute after the battle broke out, the 4 Type 8 experts of the Dragon Python group looked over and said. Their tone was also full of ease. This time, even if the Dragon Palace can't destroy the rank 8 Abyss species, they are strong enough to withstand it. The chairman of the Dragon Python group revealed a smile. Fart. Just as the chairman of the Dragon Python group finished his sentence, a pitch-black claw pierced through the body of the Abyss species that Wang Xian and Mao Zedong were attacking, following which, the scythe-like arm slammed into its body. In the next instant, Roving Demon's 2-meter body pierced through the body of the Abyss species. Die! Wang Xian bellowed, and the dragon claw slashed down towards the rank 8 Abyss species. Swish! Seeing that the rank 8 Abyss species was severely injured, Mao Zedong fired an arrow towards its head. The rank 8 Abyss species could not dodge in time and was hit directly. The destructive power of the law of destruction was killing the vitality in its body. The corner of Wang Xian's mouth curved slightly, and he dashed over to collect the corpse. One down, the rest will be easy, he murmured as he looked at the Abyss species that Bei Shuang was fighting. Mao Zedong also fired an arrow at the Abyss species. Next, it was 4 against 1, and it would be even easier to destroy it. What? The Dragon Palace killed an Immortal King rank 8 Abyss species. At this time, a group of experts from the Dragon Python group looked in their direction again. They suddenly realized that a Class 8 abyssal species had been killed, and their faces were filled with shock. The Dragon Palace really has the strength to kill 5 rank 8 Abyss species? The 4 rank 8 experts of the Dragon Python group exchanged looks, shock written all over their faces. Under normal circumstances, an Immortal King would not be able to escape in an instant against an Abyss species. To kill an Immortal King of the same level, they would need at least 2 against 1. In fact, if it was like their Dragon Python group, with their treasure, the Dragon Python Divine Shield, they could withstand the attacks of 2 Immortal Kings of the same level. Yet now, the Dragon Palace had killed a rank 8 abyss species so quickly. The strength that the Dragon Palace had displayed was only 6 rank 8 Immortal King expert. 6 to kill 5, it would be extremely, extremely difficult. Yet what happened next caused them to be filled with shock. In less than a minute, another rank 8 Immortal King rank 8 abyss species was killed. This time, they noticed that there was another mysterious expert hiding in the void of the Dragon Palace. Even they didn't notice the existence of that strange expert. We've already killed 2, the other 3 should be easy. With 2 rank 8 Immortal King rank 8 abyss species killed, the remaining 3 was only a matter of time. The 4 experts of the Dragon Python group were shocked. The other 3 rank 8 Immortal King rank 8 abyss species felt a sense of threat, and could not help but become restless, attacking the monsters formed by the Thorns formation. However, it was even more difficult for them to break through the defense of the Thorns formation. 3 more, finish them quickly. Chapter 2633, Wonderful Pop-Up Window Free Reading, Kill. Kill. Within the abyss, Wang Xian stared at the abyss creatures that were trying to break through, his eyes cold. Bei Shuang also grunted, following closely behind Wang Xian. Frost froze the void, greatly limiting the speed of the 3 Undying God King level 8 abyss beast. Su. On the archery platform, Mao Zedong stood afar, firing arrows at the 3 creatures. On the surface, Wang Xian and the rest, together with the spiky monsters, were facing off against the 3 abyssal creatures. The 3 abyssal creatures were already suppressed by the spiky monsters, but now wounds began to appear on their bodies. The following battle was a one-sided affair. Under the continuous attacks of roving demon, the 3 abyssal creatures could not put up much of a fight. One by one, the abyssal creatures fell, and in less than 5 minutes, the last 3 abyssal creatures had fallen at the hands of Wang Xian and the rest. They're really all dead. The people from Dragon Palace are really strong. We'll hold these 3 abyssal creatures back. Dragon King, come and kill these bastard. At the side, the 4 Type 8 experts of the Dragon Python Corporation went from shock to shock, and finally numbness. Seeing the 5 abyssal creatures being killed, they could not help but feel excited. 5 abyssal creatures had been killed by Dragon Palace. Wouldn't it be easy for the 3 on their side? All right. Wang Xian nodded, and without hesitation, he flew towards the chairman of the Dragon Python Corporation. Next, they surrounded the last 3 abyssal creatures. As for the following battle, there was no suspense at all. 2 minutes, in just 2 minutes, the last 3 abyssal creatures were killed. Ha 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 ha. Seeing the corpses of the abyssal creatures, the chairman of the Dragon Python Corporation and the rest could not help but laugh out loud. Their laughter was a little crazy. They had thought that they would suffer heavy losses this time, and some of them might even be heavily injured or even killed. They only wanted to call for help, but they did not expect the experts from Dragon Palace to rush over. What was even more unexpected was that Dragon Palace's strength was this terrifying. The 8 abyssal creatures were all killed under the combined attacks of the experts from Dragon Palace. Victory. Thank you, Dragon Palace, for your help. Thank you, Dragon King. The chairman of the Dragon Python group and the other 3 flew to Wang Xian and the rest. They cupped their fists and bowed to express their gratitude. You're too polite. Wang Xian nodded his head plainly. Dragon King, words cannot express our gratitude. The Dragon Palace's help this time has helped us to reduce our losses. The Dragon Python group is willing to give 10% of our shares to the Dragon Palace. In addition, if the Dragon Palace needs anything in the future, the Dragon Python group will not decline. The 4 level 8 Heavenly Kings of the Dragon Python group exchanged glances before speaking to Wang Xian again. The Dragon Python group had promised to give them shares with the help of a powerhouse. To the entire Dragon Python Corporation, 10% of the shares was definitely a terrifying amount of asset. Even the 4 of them only owned a little more than 10% of the shares. The reason why they were willing to give 10% of their shares to the Dragon King and the Dragon Palace was that the Dragon Palace was too powerful. He could easily kill 5 rank 8 abyss beasts. This strength was definitely enough to deal with 10 Undying God King level 8 abyss beast. Most importantly, this might not be the full strength of the Dragon Palace. Now that the Devil Islands were facing the worst disaster in a billion years, If they could rope in a powerful force like the Dragon Palace, it would be a huge boon to the Dragon Python Group's survival. Pulling the Dragon Palace onto the same side was the best choice. Sure. Upon hearing their words, Wang Xian nodded his head plainly. There was no reason to reject an unexpected fortune. If a 10% share of the Dragon Python Group was exchanged for resources, it could at least increase the strength of a few level 8 Undying God King expert. As for the other motives of the Dragon Python Group, he did not need to consider it. They were just doing it for mutual benefit. After all, the Dragon Palace was here to hunt the Abyss Beast. Alright, all members of the Dragon Python Group, remember that the Dragon Palace's help today has helped us to reduce our losses. In the future, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace will hold 10% of the shares of the Dragon Python Group, and the Dragon King will also be one of the major shareholders of the Dragon Python Group. In the future, the Dragon King can mobilize all the members of the Dragon Python Group. Seeing the Dragon King is like seeing us. The chairman of the Dragon Python Group announced loudly, "Yes, Chairman, yes. Your disciples will obey." The group of disciples responded loudly when they heard the chairman's word. In this battle, if not for the help of the Dragon Palace, at least half of them would have died here. It was not an exaggeration to say that the Dragon Palace was their benefactor. Moreover, they had witnessed the strength of the Dragon Palace, and were filled with gratitude and respect for the Dragon King. The Abyss Beasts here are almost all killed, we shall not stay here any longer. Wang Xian smiled faintly, and ordered the members of the Dragon Palace to keep the corpses of the Abyss Beasts, and then cupped his fists towards the chairman and the other three. Alright, we are still fighting on the other planets, we have to go and settle them. After this battle, the Dragon Python Group will definitely go and thank the Dragon King and the Dragon Palace personally. The chairman and the rest of them also cupped their fists and said with a smile, "Mm." Wang Xian nodded, and flew towards the command platform of the Dragon Peak. Bei Shuang and the rest immediately followed behind. The surrounding area was almost cleared when Wang Xian and the rest killed the level 8 Undying God King Abyss Beast. After all, there were 5,000 Undying God King level experts on the Dragon Peak, and thousands of Undying God King level divine weapons. "Let's go," Wang Xian said to Tianzhan. "Dragon King, the harvest this time is too bountiful, our strength might be able to improve further," Tianzhan said excitedly to him. Wang Xian nodded. There were 16 level 8 Abyss Beasts corpses. Together with the rest of the corpses, they might be able to give 2 members of the Dragon Palace the strength of a level 9 Undying God King. As for the rest of the Abyss Beasts corpses, there were about 4,000 of them. Those below the Eternal God King level, the Dragon Palace had collected about 10 million corpses. These were all Eternal God Lord level corpses. The resources of these corpses could boost the strength of the Dragon Palace's Undying God Kings. At least another 20,000 Undying God Kings. Let's go back, this battle is almost over. Wang Xian looked at the red dot on the array in front of Tianzhan and said. Tianzhan nodded, and immediately flew towards the planet of the Dragon Palace.